Hello, you spicy bean. If you guys are new, my name is Harriet, you are a spicy bean, and this is actually the first video I've ever done of its kind. It's gonna be like a voice notes podcast. It's gonna be no edits. I'm literally recording this on my phone with like my old school headphones. So very low budge podcast, but this year has just been such a huge year of growth for me. If you guys don't know, I moved from Sydney to Melbourne, I moved states, and I just feel like generally I have experienced a lot of growth, and I just love a little advice session giving, tips, tricks, what I've learned. So I've just written down a list of 22 things that I learned in 2022. I'm really excited to share these things with you, but please do keep in mind, like, obviously not everything that I've learned is going to apply to you. Some of these things aren't going to be practical for you depending on where you're at in your life. Just like any podcast, take it with a grain of salt and take what resonates and leave what doesn't. So let's get into it. So the first thing I learnt in 2022 is that life is equal parts good and bad. This is like one of my favorite just sayings because it's so true. If you want to like bake cookies, you have to clean up the mess. Like that's just always with something good, something kind of also comes with it. And for me, just knowing that and accepting that makes me really appreciate the good things more, because you really can't have the good without the bad and vice versa. Like if you were happy all the time, you'd kind of never feel happy. Whereas when you get bummed out, then when you start to feel better again, you really feel very grateful for that feeling. So that's the first thing that I learned. I've found a lot of peace in recognizing the good parts, if that makes sense. I need to stop saying if that makes sense. That's something that I say all the time. And like, yes, it makes sense. So the second thing that I learned is I can't remember a single embarrassing thing that my best friend has ever done. So why the fuck would anyone remember something embarrassing that I've done? I'm the kind of girl that like, I literally will replay my most embarrassing moments over and over and over in my head before I fall asleep. Like, who is that helping? And nobody can remember that stuff. So I need to stop like haunting myself with that, because I literally cannot remember a single embarrassing thing that Jem, my best friend, has ever done. So hopefully that one helps you. It definitely helped me. 3, there is no right way to do things. I have like a really bad guilt complex, and even just like the simplest things like cooking dinner, right? I don't really like to cook very much. I don't really find it like peaceful. I know some people think it's really mindful. They love to be present. They're like throwing spices in. That's just not me. I really like to put on headphones and watch a TV show. That's like the way that I kind of get through cooking. But for some reason, I feel a lot of guilt about the way that I cook. This is just an example, like there's so many things that I can apply this to, but I feel a lot of guilt because I'm not doing things the way that they're like supposed to be done. Like cooking is supposed to be mindful, therefore I'm doing it wrong. But that's so incorrect. That's just my guilt complex talking. There really is no right way to do things, and I learned that massively this year, and just taking that guilt away from the equation means that I just enjoy doing things more because I'm doing it my way. Okay, number 4. When I have an intrusive or a catastrophic thought, which I have catastrophic anxiety, so like basically anything that someone would find normal, like driving in a tunnel, getting on a plane, for me, I think of the worst case scenario and it'll literally send me into a panic attack. So when I have those kinds of thoughts, instead of giving into it, I've really learned this year to say, thank you for trying to protect me, brain. Like, I understand that my fight or flight is being activated right now. I'm so grateful to have that instinct, that human instinct to, run away or literally fight or flight, but you're triggering it at the wrong time. So I really appreciate this thought, but I don't need to worry about this right now. So an example would be like when I get on a plane, I literally am such a bad flyer. I will start to send myself into a spiral, and then I'll say, Harriet, there's no danger. it's fine. Your fight or flight does not need to be here right now. Thank you so much, anxiety, for warning me. I appreciate you, but wrong place, wrong time and place is basically what I say. And I think just that acceptance of my thoughts, like it's so easy to dismiss anxiety and be like, don't be anxious, don't be anxious. But I found that by accepting it, by saying, thank you so much, I really appreciate like what you're trying to do for me, that just acknowledging it instantly makes me more calm, because I'm recognizing that actually this is just anxiety, or not just anxiety, but this is anxiety. This is not a real thing happening right now. So that's helped me. I hope that makes sense. Number 6, checking in on the people in my life and validating their feelings has literally changed my whole entire life. I think this year especially, I've become a much better friend. I think I've become a much better listener. I think I have recognized myself how powerful it is and how powerful it feels when somebody validates my feelings, my experiences, just understands me, and when they let me know that they understand me, it makes me feel so seen. And I think we all want to be seen. So I've really tried to do that to my friends. I think a text, or a voice memo, like I love a voice memo, literally, hence this podcast. But just a quick voice memo saying, hey, like I've been thinking about you, how are you doing? And like give me a real answer, so that they don't feel pressured to be like, I'm good. Like you're allowed to get deep and be vulnerable with me. That, like, sending friends texts like that has changed my life, because I think it's just made me a way better friend. And I really urge you to do the same. Check in on your friends. Like, life is hard and friends are important. Kind of along the same lines as that, I wrote number 7, try listening more and talking less and seeing what happens. Number 8, not everything needs to be overanalyzed or make total sense to me. And sometimes you won't get closure, and that just is what it is. Like, I find it really difficult sometimes when things feel unresolved, or I really want to understand someone's motive, like why did they behave this way, blah, blah, blah. And obviously I think that getting that answer can really help us like understand people, understand situations, and learn for next time. However, you're not always going to get the answers that you want. Closure doesn't always happen, unfortunately. And I think sometimes you just need to let things be. Sorry, I should talk about me, not you. I don't want this to feel like I'm lecturing you. Sometimes I need to just be okay with not knowing and being okay with like letting things be. Sometimes people just are the way that they are, and there's really nothing deeper to it. Oftentimes there's a lot that's deeper to it, but you can literally drive yourself fucking crazy trying to figure out why someone did what they did. So I thought that was a good one. Number 9, nobody is thinking about me. They are all thinking about themselves. For me, a great example is like, I get really self-conscious like filming in public. I bring my vlog camera out if I'm going thrifting or something, and I literally have to work myself up so intensely just to like pull the camera out. And even then I'm like holding it down here because I'm just so nervous about what they think about me. Firstly, nobody gives a flying fuck. Like, if someone's gonna judge me, that reflects on them, not on me. But secondly, there's this thing called the spotlight effect, which I'm really bad at kind of retaining and regurgitating information. However, the crux of it, from my understanding, is that everyone has the spotlight effect on themselves, meaning that we walk around thinking about ourselves, thinking about our past, our insecurities, whatever it may be. And because of that, we're not really thinking about other people. We're not like, let's say you need to pick your wedgie in public, like probably no one's watching you because they're all, maybe that's a terrible example, but they're all thinking about themselves. Nobody is looking at your body when you're at the beach. Nobody is looking at your acne. Like, I just think we give so much credit to like other people viewing us, and realistically, they're probably not. Obviously, sometimes people are, but generally speaking, most people are focused on themselves. I actually have a really great anecdote. I should have said this instead of all of that, but in high school, My favorite teacher ever was called Mrs. Lazar, and she was my English teacher. And she taught me literally the most valuable life lesson, which was essentially this, but she just gave this anecdote about how she would always walk out onto the beach in a bikini and be really self-conscious. She would have to like work herself up to even go to the beach. It was like a really big thing for her. And then one day she was looking around and she just had this moment where she was like, nobody cares. Like literally no one is thinking about the fact that I'm in a bikini. Like I'm the only one thinking that. Everybody else is worried about their lives, worried about the fact that they're in a bikini, like thinking about their kids, thinking about work, whatever it is. Like everyone is thinking about themselves. And I think that can be quite liberating to, learn. Number 10, it's okay to have regrets, but I have a tendency to punish myself indefinitely and think about it constantly. And that is not productive at all. Like we've all made mistakes. I have made so many mistakes. I am so proud of like the person that I am now. I will continue to make mistakes, but as a teenager and whatever, getting into like your late teen years, I just, like that person, sometimes I think about her and I'm like, oh, cringe. I just have a lot of regrets. I think most people do. And I think it's really great to learn from those mistakes, acknowledge those regrets and do better. Like that's how we learn. We make mistakes or we fail and then we try again and we do it better next time. But like constantly thinking about the bad things that you've done in your past and punishing yourself over it, that's not helping anyone. If you've learned from it, you've grown from it, I think it's safe to say you can move on. Like that's my opinion on it. And I think I hold myself back by thinking about the past shitty things that I've done. And I really want to work on that. I am working on it, but I still need to work on it for sure. Number 11, don't take anything for granted at all. Like practice gratitude every single day. I think we all learned this the hard way in 2020, whatever. Literally like anything can change overnight. You can lose a job, you can lose a friend, you can get dumped, you can, your house can fucking burst into flames. Like anything can happen. And I think most people who have been through like a really traumatic event or have lost a job or are going through a breakup, I think everyone who's been through something quite life-altering like that can attest to this. Like every day is a blessing and we really should be practicing gratitude every single day. Sometimes it's hard. It can be really hard, especially if you're in a difficult situation. Obviously everyone's different, but for me, I find it really important and helpful to practice gratitude like every single day because you just like life is so short, you just can't take anything for granted. I actually wrote, this is quite funny that I wrote this, but when you're sick and like you have a blocked nose, I'm literally I hate having a blocked nose so much. Like when you go to sleep and one side is like blocked and then you move to the other side, like it's just a horrible experience. When you have a cold, you are constantly thinking to yourself, or I am constantly thinking to myself, why did I never appreciate when my nose was clear? And like that's such a small example, but you can't take anything for granted. You can't take anything for granted. Number 12, this kind of goes back to a point that I was saying before, but people can be assholes for no reason. Like, unfortunately, I think the world is mostly good, but people can just be dicks for no reason, no explanation. I'm sure they have their own reasons, but I mean like someone can just like flip you off when you're driving around, or someone can yell at you on the street. Like, I guess it's not right to say that they have no reason. I should just change it to people can be assholes. And that's just like an important lesson to learn, because I think I walk around with like rose-colored glasses on a lot of the time, and I kind of think everyone's nice, everyone's positive, like we're all in this together, and that just isn't the case. There are going to be some people who just don't like you for, it seems like no reason. They probably do have a reason. That just can happen, and it's unfortunate, but I think it's a really good lesson to learn. Number 13. I love this one. It is okay to try hard. And I think the term like a try hard really has started to irk me this year, because what the fuck is wrong with trying hard? I think there's this general consensus that like if you're naturally a certain way, like if you're naturally funny, that's somehow better than if you're trying hard to be funny. But the outcome is that both people are funny. I don't really see the negative in that. Like if someone just naturally has a good fashion sense, like sick, like that's so great for them. However, if someone is trying hard to have a good fashion sense, good on them. And that means that they've actually put in the work. Like, I don't think it's a negative thing. And I think it needs to be appreciated more. Like, I think it's kind of more of a younger thing to call someone a try hard. But like, I think now we actually say basic instead. I think people say, oh, you're so basic. Like, you're doing what's popular. You're trying hard to fit into the norm, whatever. But like, let's not be so judgy. Everyone needs to do them. If you want to try hard, I think that's fucking cool. Like, I know for me, I always want to try hard to be like the coolest version of myself, to dress really cool, to be funny, to be nice. Like, I think that's a great thing, and I don't think it's appreciated enough. So if you are try hard, slay, because same. Number 14, I have never, ever, ever regret being kind to someone, even if they are the scum of the earth. Sorry, that's really mean, but even if they're really mean to me, I've never, ever, ever regret taking the high road, being kind. However, I have massively regret being petty, being mean, being sassy. Like, that's not who I am. I really am not. I really think I pride myself on being a kind person. I think I'm empathetic, and I think there's really no reason ever to be petty or rude or sassy. I think you'll never regret being kind. Obviously, like, I don't want to get walked over, but I would rather get walked over than be an asshole, to be fair. So that's something I've learned. Number 15, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Taylor Swift, obviously. Be aware of how, oh, I'm not talking to you. I need to be aware of how I act as a person, because unfortunately I'm not perfect and some things are my fault, and sometimes I do cause an argument or I don't behave like as well as I can. And also I have a lot of past, like we all have a lot of past, whether you want to call them traumas or just things that have happened to us that shape the way that we are. We learn so much from our parents. We learn so much from our like childhood, generally our friendships, all of that. And unfortunately, like some of the things that we pick up aren't great ways to be. And I think as you get older, you start to realize like what those things are, what those tendencies are. And for me, like I have my own set of them, and they do create issues sometimes. And I just think it's so important to be aware that sometimes you are the problem, and that's okay. It's just like, let's work on growing and changing and working on ourselves. So go Taylor. Number 16, it is never too late to start doing something, ever. So many famous examples of this. I can't even remember who it is now. Is it Liam Neeson? There's a really famous male actor who didn't start acting until he was like 55. For me, my personal experience with this is when I was younger, I always wanted to have a YouTube channel. Hi, here we are. When I was like 14, I really wanted to do it, and I just didn't do it because I was really afraid of what people would think about me. And then not later in life, literally like in my early 20s, I started a YouTube channel, and it's been the best decision of my life. I think it's really important to recognize that you can start something whenever you want. If you want to learn how to sew, if you want to make a YouTube channel, if you want to write a song, if you want to travel to Europe, like it is never too late to start working towards a goal. And I think age, unfortunately, like plays a factor in some of our decisions. And for some stupid reason, TikTok has made all of us feel like we're way older than we are. At least it's definitely made me feel that way. But like, there's no time limit. Like, you go for what you want, honestly, and you'll feel so much better if you do it now rather than wait another 10 years. So just do the thing that you really want to do. I'm like such an advocate for pursuing, or it doesn't even have to be a job, but just like pursuing a passion, a hobby, learning something new. I think it's amazing. Number 17, when you're striving for something, whether it's like, I don't know, doing like a certain amount of gym reps, or like maybe you want to learn how to do a pull-up, or maybe you want to hit 100 subscribers, or whatever. We all have our own goals in our life. It is so important to stop and smell the roses, because from my experience, I have set goals, let's say 1,000 subscribers, and you're just so tunnel visioned on that goal. And then when you get there, you're immediately like, okay, what's next? And love the chase, love being motivated and ambitious. I think it's great, but there is something to be said for stopping, appreciating all of the amazing things that you've done, stopping to be really grateful that you did that thing, that you hit that goal, and then set a new goal. Because I found it so important to just like celebrate every milestone, because otherwise you're just constantly chasing and seeking more. And again, like, it goes back to gratitude. I think if you're not grateful for hitting that goal, you're just, it's not going to feel as good when you get to the next one. Celebrate your wins, queen. Number 18, how people feel about you is none of your goddamn business. Like, if somebody gives you a tone and you're like, they don't like me, why don't they like me? Who cares? Like, literally, that is on them. If I am being my nice, kind, understanding, empathetic self, then I'm good. Like, I think we all need to learn to just be really secure in who we are. I know it's like a constant struggle, but for me, I think I've really managed to find that this year. And if somebody doesn't like me, like, maybe I'm just not their cup of tea. Like, it's not that deep. I think, obviously, I'm not perfect. Like, if somebody doesn't like me, I do still struggle with it. I'm not trying to be like, I don't care, like, blah, blah, blah. No, of course I do. But I think it's really important to remind yourself that the way that other people feel about you, that's a them thing. You just need to keep doing you, as long as you're not being a dick. Okay, number 19. I have found it really valuable to distinguish between people's flaws and actual red flags. Obviously, it's kind of like a Venn diagram that they obviously can intersect. But again, because of TikTok, something I found, the discourse around like flaws, is that a lot of people are labeling everything as a red flag. And they're like, oh, well, if he doesn't reply to your text for 2 days, dump him. Like, red flag, dump him. Even like people will post a TikTok of their relationship and the comments will be like, oh, he's a walking red flag. And I just find that so insane. Like, when did we stop being critical and like trying to understand people? So something that I've learned is like, I don't think that I want to be the kind of person who immediately cuts someone off at the first sign of like a flaw. Like, I think it's really valuable to learn how to have difficult conversations with people, how to compromise, how to help someone learn and grow. Of course, if that thing that they're doing is like toxic, whatever, like, make your own boundaries. But for me, I think if I just cut everyone off at the first sign of like a flaw, like the first sign that they're not perfect, then I just wouldn't have learned how to be critical and how to live, like coexist with people. Like coexisting with people is only possible if you can accept somebody for who they are. And unfortunately, like not everyone is perfect. I reckon every single human being has flaws. And I think if we love someone, we want them to do better and be better. And so if we just cut them off, then we're not really doing that, are we? And again, like obviously there are red flags and then there are just flaws. And I think it's up to each individual person to distinguish those things. But I've had a few issues with like friends, for example, where I feel like my gut instinct was like, they're toxic, I can't be bothered. But then after bringing it up with them and having that really difficult conversation, like we're all just human beings. They said sorry, like they want to do better. Like, duh, that's how we work. We don't want to be dickheads most of the time. And I think it's just a real missed opportunity if we cut everyone off. So that's something that I learned this year. And as awkward and horrible as confrontation is, we grow massively from that. So number 20, I actually saw a TikTok recently that I really resonated with, and they said something along the lines of take care of yourself and go about your day the way that you would take care of your child. So like, would you let your child skip breakfast? Would you let your child sit in a dark room on TikTok for 4 hours? Would you let your child sit with like terrible posture like I sit on the couch and just like play video games all day? Or would you encourage your child to eat a meal, have a shower, brush their teeth, go outside for a walk? And I just loved that mentality because it takes that laziness or that feeling of like instant gratification out of the picture, and it separates you from your kind of worst self. And I've just found that really, really helped me. Obviously I do still lie on the couch and play video games for like all day, but I think I'm better. And I think that just helps me see myself in a more like loving and empathetic light. Number 21, we are getting there. Most decisions in my life haven't been permanent. Now, obviously everyone's situation is different. I am not talking about anyone else but me. So yeah. I know people can get a bit like weird about this stuff. Obviously, sometimes you can't quit a job. You can't leave a relationship. I'm very conscious of that. So this is just about me. But yeah, like if I've hated a job, I can quit. Like I can leave. Obviously, I'm going to have to really work hard to find something else so that I can make money, but I can leave. If I don't like a relationship, I can leave. If I want to get out of the city that I'm in, I can leave. And as I said before, I'm aware these things are very specific to my circumstance, but that's just how it has been for me. And I'm very grateful for that. And I think for me, that's helped me make decisions now because I'm aware that like even moving to Melbourne from Sydney, which I'm in Melbourne right now, I just moved like 2 months ago. I thought to myself going into it, if I hate it after my lease is up, I can leave. Like nothing is permanent, and just like I need to not take every single little decision in my life so seriously. Like sometimes things don't work out and that's okay. The last one, number 22. This one, I don't know if it's controversial, but anyway, let's talk about the main character trend. I am okay with not being a main character. I feel like this was such a big thing on TikTok. It was like main character, morning routine, like living as the main character. And I love the idea of it. I think it's amazing to live your life for you and like do the things that you want to do, make selfish decisions. Like I think everyone has a time in their life where they are the main character, and I think, you know, that's great. But for me, I have always liked the supporting character way more. And the way that I want to look back on my life is not gonna be, I hope it's not in like a selfish way. Like obviously I want to take control of my life. I want to live to my fullest potential. I want to make decisions for myself. But at the end of my life, I want to be able to look back and be like, I was a great friend. I was there for people when they needed me. I encouraged people to pursue their dreams, to be a better person. I was a great girlfriend. I was a great daughter. Like, that's what I want to be known for. And I get, like, again, we're all different, and some people really want to just live their life for them. And I think that's amazing. No shame, no hate, no shade. But I want to lift other people up. I want to validate them. I want to help them grow and all of those things. And I think the supporting role, like, what a vibe. I don't want my life to just be about me. I find that quite overwhelming. Like, I really love to be invested in other people's lives and help them just as much as I want to be there for myself. And I feel like I sound like a wanker right now. I feel like it sounds like I'm being like, I'm such a great person. I really don't mean it that way. I just mean, like, I really do want to look back and think, was I a good supporting role for everyone else, you know? And yeah, I always like the supporting characters better, so that's a slay. Anyway, those were my 22 things that I learned in 2022. I'm going to throw an extra one in there because actually I'm surprised this didn't make it onto my list, but I want to think about death more in 2023. Something I learned this year. I watched this guy's morning routine and he thinks about death every day. Love that for him. And I started doing it in the sauna with Ethan. We would just like think about death for a few minutes. And oh my God, best way to live your life. Best way to live your life is to remind yourself every single day that death is imminent. And I know that sounds so dramatic, but literally, like, we are all gonna die. We are all gonna die. So, like, what are you waiting for? Go and, like, kiss the boy that you like. Go and pursue your passion. Go and, I don't know, other inspiring things. Just, like, do it, because literally we are not guaranteed. I always say I'm, like, gonna live till I'm 100. It's kind of like a joke because I really want a letter from the queen, or I guess the king. I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll be a queen by then. Who knows? Anyway, I've always joked about that, but, like, that is not a guarantee. So YOLO. Am I right, ladies? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about my life lessons. If you guys have any big things that you feel like you've learned this year, obviously please comment them down below. I always want this to be a two-way street. This actually is my last video for 2022, but I have a new video coming in the new year. Obviously many new videos coming in the new year, but I'm planning on posting like the first week of January. So you won't have to miss me for too long. This beautiful face will be gracing your screens very soon. But thank you for spending this year with me. It's literally been the best year of my life, and I reckon 90% of that is because of you guys. So truly thank you. I hope that you feel like you have a friend in me. I feel like I have a friend in you. And life can be hard, but like we have each other. And that's a big, I was gonna say slay, but I've said it too many times in this video. Anyway, you get me. I love you. Thanks for listening. Peace out 2022. Am I right, ladies? Okay, shut up, Harriet. Bye. Hold up, I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside.